Episodes of the Green Corn Rebellion Show are sponsored by Oklahoma Progress Now. Oklahoma Progress Now is a 501c4 organization focused on building progressive power in Oklahoma. Their primary efforts are on developing progressive content for a 21st century audience, coalition, and capacity building across progressive organizations and causes, and working to see elected leaders who are more responsive to their constituents and the needs of the many. Areas of focus include progressive messaging and communications, coalition building and resource sharing, and focused progressive policy goals. You can check out their Twitch live streams, and they go live on Facebook on at noon, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Please support this organization. It's a really great organization. It's just getting started here in Oklahoma. Thank you. Now enjoy the rest of the video. So, hello, this is the Green Corn Rebellion Show, and today I am here with Spencer Hicks, who is a candidate for Oklahoma County Commissioner in District 2. How are you doing today?
I'm well. How's it going, Greg?
Doing all right. First question I have here is where are you from and where did you grow up at?
Uh, I grew up in Shawnee, Oklahoma, which you're familiar with. Uh,
Very familiar with.
Went to graduated from Shawnee High School. Did my undergraduate at Oklahoma Baptist University, and moved up to Oklahoma City in 2004 or five. So I've been here ever since. But yeah, Shawnee, man. I don't know, it was weird growing up there. Like growing up, I hated it.
Hmm.
Uh, I thought it was boring and whatever. But I think looking back on it, like it's a great little town, you know. Like we rode our
Yeah.
bikes places. Like I don't know. I think I was too hard on it during my teens.
Yeah. What year did you graduate from Shawnee High School?
99.
99. Okay, cool. I'm 20, class of 2016. Uh,
Just a
but yeah.
baby. You're a baby.
Yeah, like whenever I was growing up, like that's how a lot of other people felt about it at the time was they didn't like it. They thought Shawnee was too small. And I was like, but like for me, like I always loved Shawnee. I've always loved living here, and it's been cool to see the town grow. It's probably done the most growth in 100 years within the last 10 or 15 years.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
been interesting to see the town grow and get more businesses and stuff and more people over the last 15 years or so. And it's gotten more interesting.
yeah.
Um, and people from other little towns, they'll say their towns suck and Shawnee's great. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
you should come here and talk to the people I know from here.
yeah.
But yeah,
It's all about perspective. Like my parents are still living there, so we go back probably once a week.
it's cool.
Yeah.
It's real cool. Um, so what are some of the things you've done before you decided to run for office? You've been a comedian, you've worked with Brad Henry's office when he was governor. Tell me more about those things.
Yeah. So when I moved up here and see, I started working for him so probably '04. I moved up here, I started working for Governor Henry, and and about the same time is when I started going to like open mics, uh, and been doing been doing both ever since. After Governor Henry left office, he started a consulting firm down in Norman. So we do business development stuff for the Chickasaws, and so I work down here during the day. And back before I had three kids, I would do stand up quite often. Haven't really been that active in stand up comedy here of late. Just running for office and kids and work. So, but yeah, I mean, I've been very fortunate for all the things that have happened. You know.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because I remember whenever Brad Henry ran for governor the first time, and my parents were like, "Oh, we're voting for this guy. He's from Shawnee." And I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And getting to grow up with someone being governor from my hometown, like that was a pretty big deal at the time.
Yeah,
And then I got to meet him when I was in high school, and got him to come speak at the high school at our Young Democrats group, and that was pretty cool.
that's
So
fantastic.
yeah, that was back in 2016, 2015, somewhere in there. So yeah.
Well, then I'm trying to think because let's see, he left office in 12. So yeah, I'm a little surprised that I wasn't with him whenever he came to speak.
But yeah, so what made you interested in doing stand-up comedy, and who were some of your influences with that?
Yeah. So whenever I was in eighth grade, um, I started like trying to write jokes, and so I've still got an old notebook, and so it was always just something that like intrigued me, and like I didn't hit puberty until I was a senior in high school, so like being the funny guy was like the only way I could belong, you
Mm-hmm.
know, uh, and so from the time I was 13, 14 until I was 24, like I'd always be like, oh, I'm gonna go do an open mic, blah blah blah. And So when I turned 18, I started going to the Looney Bin, which was up here in the city. So I'd drive from Shawnee up to Oklahoma City, and I would just watch the open mics, and I'd be like, okay, next week I'm gonna sign up and do that. Um, and so I did that for until I was. It took me until I was 24 years old uh, before I finally had the courage to actually get up there and try it. So I mean, I was a late bloomer to everything, puberty and comedy. Uh, but yeah, I got started, just doing open mics. A year or two later, started emceeing for that comedy club. Then me and some of the other comedians started a group called OKC Comedy. So we started bringing in like touring comedians who would otherwise just go like to Dallas and then skip over Oklahoma and go to like Kansas City or Chicago, and we'd provide them with a night of work to kind of break up their trip or whatever, and give them, because there was an audience here that didn't get comedy. This is before the casinos started doing all their stand up shows and that kind of stuff, and just been plugging away, man,
That's
telling
cool.
telling fart jokes.
Yeah, like whenever I was in middle school, I used to like write comedy sketches on
Yeah,
my iPod and used to show them to my friends, and they thought they were funny. And I was
yeah,
really into SNL back then, and like it's still one of my favorite shows today.
yeah,
And eventually I kind of just gave up on it and found other things I wanted to do, like politics and history and stuff like that. And
yeah.
then I've had people recently say to me, like, "Oh, it's not too late for you to try to do comedy." Like,
It's not.
I'm like, I guess I don't know. Like, I've never really thought too much about it until like someone said it, and I was like, I guess like maybe whenever this pandemic's over, I might try something like that. But I don't know. It's always been something I've been interested in and
Yeah,
I thought was cool.
I think you absolutely should. If you ever want to, we'll go hit an open mic together. I
All
mean,
right.
you're never too old. I mean, there are plenty of comedians who didn't start until like their 40s, and got big. I'm trying to think of like Greg Girardo used to
Mm-hmm.
be I think he was a lawyer, and he started doing comedy and quit doing lawyer stuff and was just a comedian. Like, it's never too late, man. Do it.
All right. I'll have to remember that. I might. So what made you want to run for the seat?
The the answer I tell people is that my wife wouldn't let me run for state senate, uh, and that's because she's got that seat. So, uh, but no, I mean, just like looking at the landscape, um, like I mean, I feel like I'm represented very well at the state level with state senator, um, uh, House rep. Uh, I've got Kendra Horn on the federal level. Uh, but I mean, Oklahoma County is, people used to lump in, oh, Oklahoma, it's red, it's all red, it's all Democrats will never win over. But I mean, you look at the populated areas, like at Tulsa County and Oklahoma County, Cleveland County, like there's enough Democratic voters to elect a Democrat. And I mean, personally, I don't think like county offices should be partisan necessarily because you're not making laws that are on partisan lines. You're basically just setting budgets, funding roads and bridges. Uh, so I mean, it shouldn't be partisan, but I mean, the incumbent has been in office for 12 years. Looking back over the past 12 years, I felt like he hadn't done anything to move Oklahoma County forward. Um, he basically just does whatever he's told by the party, and it's just we can do better. We can actually do things that help our citizens, um, and so I figured I'd give it a shot. Worst thing that can happen is I don't get elected. My life stays the same. I still have wife and kids, still have jobs, so I figured I had nothing to lose.
Yeah, and then if you don't get elected this time, you can run for state senate in 2 years.
It's not a bad plan.
On your website, one of the things you say you'd like to deal with when you're elected is the county jail and criminal justice reform.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me what's going on with the county jail and why you believe there should be a new one built?
Yes, the county jail has been a disaster since almost day one. I think like the first month it was open, there were people escaping. Just this past weekend,
Yeah.
a dude escaped, climbed down ropes he had tied together. It's just unfathomable. Um, Not to mention the fact that it's been underfunded since pretty much the day it was built. We got the money to build that jail from a sales tax that expired after 2 years. So we had the capital to build it, but we didn't have any money uh, to keep it updated, to keep it going. And so right now, I think the last figure I saw, it's either 20 or $30 million just to get it to where the feds won't threaten us with lawsuits. There's sewage running down the walls. It's not safe for inmates. It's not safe for the people who work there. And it's been overcrowded since. I mean, just like pretty much every jail and prison in Oklahoma has been dealing with overcrowding and overpopulation. And so, I mean, I think that's kind of how you have to attack it is with criminal justice reform. Personally, I don't think people who are dealing with mental health issues or an addiction or a substance abuse, putting them in jail is not serving the greater community. Instead of spending on average, I think it's $50 a day per inmate um, to basically just hold them in a cell. That doesn't help them. If the goal is rehabilitation and to have someone who's made some mistakes to get back in to society and contribute to the economy, to work, take care of their family, be there for their family. then putting them in jail for things like addiction doesn't help anybody. That's just a waste of our money. Um, and so, I mean, I think you have to attack it from both parts. That building is it needs its own source of funding. It's been underfunded for too long. We've got too many people in it. So I think you kind of have to check it at all angles. With the trust, it's kind of like it's no longer just going to be up to the county board. Like the trust is going to kind of make that decision. So the next county commissioners will have to be working alongside the trust to figure out the next steps, or whether or not we're going to replace that, or if it's long term, need to just fix it up. But I mean, personally, in my opinion, I figure we just need a new one. You know.
All right. Um, so another issue you talk about is the roads in rural areas within the county. Can you talk about what you'd like to see happen when you're elected with the roads?
Yeah. So county government, any municipality that is under, I think, the population of 7,000, or an unincorporated part of the county, all the roads and bridges are handled by the county. There's we're talking about, like, section line roads, dirt roads, gravel roads, and I've spoken with so many people out in the eastern part of the county where that's heavily relied upon, that the incumbent just doesn't do anything for them. And it's all the same with the sheriff's department. Like municipalities that have less than 7,000 people or unincorporated, they're patrolled by the county sheriff's department. They don't have their own police force or whatever. So I mean, you could look at like Triple X Road. There's a bridge that's been closed down for years. People who live on the other side of it, they got to drive 4 miles out of their way to get where they're going. Whereas if the bridge was working, you could just go across the bridge. Like, I don't know. It's maddening to see where the priorities are. Like the incumbent recently was under criminal investigation for a program he started that was supposed to pick up trash, clean up graffiti, that kind of stuff. But he didn't get charged with any wrongdoing, but he had to use private money to pay back the taxpayers for the money that he took out of the highway fund to fund his little pet project to pick up litter. So I mean, he was taking money out of the roads fund for whatever, So it's just, I don't know. It's just, I think roads are like the basic thing, like of our government. Like they benefit everybody. You can't get from here to there. You can't go to work without good roads. Like it's the one thing everyone can get behind. I want good roads. So we need to stop wasting money on pet projects and just use the money for the roads on the roads.
All right. So how has campaigning been since the pandemic started? How are you campaigning now that you can't usually do what campaigns do during an election?
Yeah, it's been weird. We took probably a 2-month break because I was knocking doors before the pandemic, and so we stopped doing that for about 2 months, and we started doing lit drops. So we still driving around, and if someone's like out in the yard or whatever, I'm always wearing my mask and I'll talk to the person, but I won't go knock on a door. Oh, Thank you. Hey, do you remember this guy?
Which guy?
Gregory Hardin? You spoke at his Young Democrats class.
I do.
Oh, hey,
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I can't hear what
Oh,
he's saying,
yeah.
but
I'll pull. Hang on. Now you're on speaker.
How are you doing?
hey, good. How are you, Gregory?
I'm doing all right.
What are you up to?
Just doing a YouTube show right now.
We're doing a show. You're on TV.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm getting out of here then. I got to get back to work. Some of us have to work.
Some of us do. Some of us do.
It's good to see you.
Nice seeing you too.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Little cameo.
That was interesting.
I'm gonna plug my mic back in.
Yeah.
I don't know if that will make it better for
Yeah, I was hearing an echo.
your audio.
All right. But yeah, so you were saying you were doing let drops and what else? And talking to people in their yard if you see them. Was that all you had to add to that, or okay?
Yeah, that's kind of it. And then like me and a buddy made a parody commercial of that. Was it Shelley Landon?
Mm-hmm.
Shelley Landon had that commercial. Recently made another little ad for in favor of State Question 805. And then I think we're probably going to do some more ads spoofing some of the, like a Terry Nice ad or something. So just, trying to make it all work, because it's different now. It's weird.
Yeah. All right. I liked that spoof ad you did. I can't remember who it was who originally did the ad, but
yeah, I think was it Shelley Landon? Was that?
I think so. I want to say that was who it was. But yeah, I never saw the original before.
Oh, you didn't?
So I saw your ad and I just assumed it was like a parody of something, but I'd never seen the original, but I thought it was hilarious. So
yeah, because there was another person who, when I posted it on Facebook, was like, I'm not so sure about this ad or whatever. And I was like, here's the original. This is something, I don't know. Like I think it was probably confusing to people who hadn't seen the original. So I mean, I should have made that clearer.
But yeah, it was good. Last question I have here is, what kind of music do you listen to?
I listen to anything, except for country. I don't really listen to country that often. Probably in the past 5-6 years, mostly kid music. But let's see. I mean, I don't know. Like I grew up listening to like Nirvana, Foo Fighters, Linkin Park.
What about Limp Bizkit?
Yeah, I was a huge Limp Bizkit fan. I've got a huge tub of CDs that I can't bring myself to just throw away, even though I'm never going to listen to them. But I think I got to you on Twitter, but I found like a Limp Bizkit keyring that came with some album I got, and I'm going to find that. I'm going to find that tonight. Remind me, and I'll find it. And if you want it, you can have it. If you don't already have it, but
I don't have it. I remember you showed it to me, I think, and you asked me if I wanted it. I said yeah. So I remember what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go through my garage again to find that. But yeah, I mean, like Rage Against the Machine, like I still listen to today. Stone Temple Pilots. Yeah.
How about Korn?
Oh yeah, huge Korn fan.
Nice. Yeah, because whenever you were growing up, the CD warehouse existed, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it closed down a few years ago, and I used to
Yeah.
hang out over there all the time when I was in high school.
Yeah, and it was now it's an AT&T store, right?
Yeah.
Such a weird change, but yeah, I love that place. Yeah. Yeah, because there was a, I'm trying to think of what the place is. There was a place in the mall, a CD store in the mall. That's where I would hang out with. But that was in the 90s, so I don't know. Um, I doubt there's a CD store in the mall still.
Oh no, I've personally never seen a CD store in the mall like that. That mall has changed a lot even since when I was a kid. Like even like I think like the J.C. Penney's that's been in there forever, that's closing now.
Oh no.
Yeah, and the Dillard's is still there. I think that's pretty much the only thing that's been in there consistently over the last however long that mall's been open.
Yeah.
Because everything else is new within the last 10 or 15 years or so. And then I
Yeah.
don't
We
know
had,
what's going to happen with the movie theater. That movie theater that's there, I don't know what's going to happen with that. It
oh
might
no.
just end up closing because they closed whenever the pandemic started and they haven't reopened. So, and same with the other movie theater, the Cinema 8 by the Homeland. It's
Yeah.
closed up and doesn't look like it's going to be opening back up.
Oh
So,
no.
yeah, because I saw some people up there the other day, you know, taking down the posters and stuff, and they put some traffic cones in front of the driveway. So I was like, oh, so I don't think they're going to be opening back up at all. But
Let's
I don't
hope. Let's.
know.
Maybe they just didn't want people doing donuts in the parking lot.
Maybe, hopefully, I hope it opens back up. That's like been my favorite thing to do the last couple of years is just go to movies.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but it's been interesting. A lot of stuff is different. The Golden Corral closed recently too.
No.
Yeah, see, I said the same thing. It closed, and they said that they couldn't sustain any money because of the pandemic, so they had to
Yeah.
close it down. So yeah, but yeah, it's been quite interesting. And then that Kmart closed. So I don't know how long that Kmart's been there, but I know it's been there
Yeah.
for a
I worked there. I
while.
worked there in high school.
Yeah, it's gone now too. It's been gone for a couple of years. It went around the same time as the CD warehouse. So yeah, but disappointing. But that's how it is.
It's life, man.
Yeah. So where can we find you on social media, and what is your campaign website?
You can find me on Twitter is probably what I'm most active on at Spencer Linux, uh, Lenox. Instagram, same thing, Spencer Linux. My campaign website is spencerhicks.com.
All
Easy,
right.
easy peasy. Check it out. We're selling campaign shirts now, so get you a shirt. I'll send you one.
All
Shoot
right,
me your
cool.
address.
Okay, I will. Thanks for coming on, man. Good luck to you on the campaign trail.
Thank you so much, Gregory. You're awesome.